The pawnstars empire, which was once a shining example of success, is now falling apart due to betrayal lawsuits and bankruptcy. In a shocking turn of events, investigators have started going through the large collection of items left behind in what many people call the pawnstars estate after gold and silver pawnshops filed for bankruptcy. Why were these items left behind? Is there something hidden within them? The answers could change everything we thought we knew about pawnstars. If you want to know more, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next hot video. His son Corey Big Hose Harrison was given a life sentence and became trapped in a nightmare in prison. A nasty family feud now threatens to destroy everything he had built. What began as a simple financial audit quickly turned into a complicated case. When investigators found troubling items among the thousands of artifacts and souvenirs that had been gathered over decades in the Harrison family business. The Las Vegas Institute made the Harrison brand famous through the long-running History Channel hit show. The gold and silver pawnshops called Pawnstars became the most famous pawnshop in the U.S. People came from all over the world trying to find a glimpse of Rick Harrison, his son Corey, and the famous shop assistant Austin. However, Chumley Russell's TV fame has faded a lot. As investigators went through the huge collection, they found things that made them wonder a lot about how the shop bought things. This sudden and disturbing event comes at a very sad time for the Harrison family, who are still grieving over the death of Rick's 39-year-old son Adam Harrison earlier this year. When Rick Harrison, who had chosen to stay out of the spotlight unlike his brother Corey, died of a drug overdose in January 2025, it sent shock waves through the close-knit Las Vegas community that had seen the Harrison family become famous. A person close to the family who asked to remain anonymous said that he first lost his son Adam and is now seeing the business his father started and the legacy he built for his family being looked at closely. The investigation into the pawnshop started in a harmless way when financial auditors were called in to look at the business's assets because there were signs of cash flow problems at the once thriving business. The famous pawnshop had greatly increased its retail space to accommodate the large number of tourists who came to visit after the show's success, but the show is thought to be struggling with falling TV ratings as the show has lost a lot of watchers since its peak. What the auditors found in the shop's huge storage areas quickly turned a normal financial audit into something much more serious. They found legal inventory items with questionable origins, historical artifacts with missing or questionable papers, antiques that might have been brought in illegally, and even things that had been reported stolen in other states were found. That the amount of products is large. Natalie Rodriguez, a former FBI art crime expert who has worked on similar cases, said that there are thousands of items that were gathered over many decades, many of which were gathered before the show started, when documentation standards may not have been as strict. It is a huge job to figure out what items were legally bought and what items may have been bought illegally. Investigators are especially worried about some items from the Civil War that have mixed paperwork, which there's a chance that they were stolen from protected historical sites instead of being bought officially. There is also not enough proof to show that many of the Native American artifacts in the collection were legally obtained, so they may be protected under the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. Austin Chumley Russell, who has been in trouble with the law before, is once again the focus of the probe. In 2016, Russell faced serious legal risks when police searched his home while investigating sexual assault claims that he was not charged with and found drugs and illegal weapons. The case ended with Russell pleading guilty to felony weapon charges and a serious misdemeanor charge of drug possession, which led to 3 years of probation. Chumley worked very hard to get over his legal problems and rebuild his life. Martin Cohen, his life lawyer, said that he had nothing to do with any possible troublesome purchases during the time that most of the items in question were made. He was just an employee and didn't have the power to buy things. Chumley fully cooperated with the police. Rick Harrison is the public face of Pawnstars and built his name on his deep understanding of historical artifacts. He is both a person and a business. And a problem with his job as an investigator, Harrison often talks about how his father, Richard the Old Man, Harrison taught him the pawn business when he was young, stressing how important it was to know your stuff and be careful with who you trust. Richard Harrison died in 2018 after a long battle with Parkinson's disease. He left Rick to run the family business and care for his old father. Millions of viewers affectionately call him the Old Man. He co-founded Gold and Silver Pawn with his son Rick in 1989, setting the groundwork for what would become a worldwide TV phenomenon when Pawn Stars debuted in 2009. Rick always said that his father taught him everything he knew about business. A former show director who worked closely with the family for 7 seasons said that the old man was tough but fair. He was devastated to see that the business was being accused of these things, and he was very proud of having built something that his grandchildren could inherit. That inheritance now seems more and more at risk as investigators continue to list the huge amount of inventory, including historical items that may have been bought back illegally. Authorities are also thought to have found financial irregularities that point to possible tax problems that may have been going on for years, though no proof has been found yet. Real charges have been brought. Forensic accountants are now looking into the complicated business network that the show's popularity created. When Pawn Stars was at its peak, the Harrison family used their fame to start a number of businesses in Las Vegas, such as Rick's Rollin' Smoke Corey's, a bar called Viper Room Las Vegas, and other businesses. The company that manages these businesses is currently being investigated for possible money laundering and questionable cost allocations to Corey Big Hose Harrison, who has worked at the pawn shop since he was a teenager and is being trained to take over the family business one day. The investigation not only threatens his job, but it also puts at risk the succession plan, which has been the subject of many episodes showing how he has changed from a rebellious young man to a talented adult. Entrepreneur Corey is trying to stay positive and help his father through this tough time. A family friend told him that he is still grieving the death of his brother Adam while working with investigators to keep the business going. The shop is still open, but it's a very sad place to be inside. Adam Harrison's death in January cast a dark shadow over his family. The investigation into his death has only grown, even though Adam chose not to be on the TV show because he wanted to live a life away from it. Adam Harrison was a close member of the Harrison family, and his death from a drug overdose brought attention to the opioid crisis that is affecting families across the United States. In a moving statement released after Adam's death, Rick Harrison said that his son had been struggling with addiction for years. Rick wrote, "Adam, you will always be in my heart. I love you." Later, the sad father talked more about how terrible drug addiction is, using his platform to bring attention to the growing opioid epidemic that kills thousands of Americans every year. The current investigation has brought the family more media attention during their mourning time, which is adding to the stress as they try to deal with their loss and a possible business failure. Sources close to Rick Harrison say that he has fully cooperated with the investigators. He has also insisted that any wrongdoing was not done on purpose and may have been caused by the business growing so quickly during the show's success spike. Pawn Stars went from being a local pawn shop to a global brand almost overnight, according to Ellis Monroe, a business expert who knows a lot about reality TV shows. That when a small family business grows so quickly, its operational systems often break down. Filing processes, acquisition protocols, and financial controls all need to be able to handle a lot more people, which doesn't always go smoothly. A short statement from famous names acknowledged the investigation while stressing that the network is not involved in or aware of the daily buying activities at Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. "I want a pawn shop, oh my. At City Hall, they told me, no, you can't work as a boxer in Las Vegas." In addition, the statement said that the show is not being made until these problems are fixed. The show was a huge hit, airing more than 600 episodes over 22 seasons. It became one of the most recognizable brands on cable TV and led to many spin-offs and foreign versions while it was at its peak. Millions of people watched Pawn Stars to see the Harrisons and Chumley value strange items, negotiate with shady sellers, and argue with each other. One of the best things about the show was that it taught viewers something new, with Rick Harrison sharing historical background and authentication methods for different artifacts that were brought into the shop. Interestingly, this knowledge now makes people wonder how potentially problematic items could have been brought into the shop's inventory. Without sending up any red flags, it would be very bad for trust if these claims turned out to be true. Miranda Jensen, a famous TV critic, says that the show made Rick seem like a very knowledgeable expert who could spot a fake or problematic item right away. The idea that the shop might have bought things with questionable origins doesn't fit with this carefully crafted image. Some of the most troubling things that detectives have found are ancient artifacts that may have come from places with strict export rules, like Egypt. International antiquities laws have become much stricter in the last few decades, especially in Greece and several Middle Eastern countries. Many countries are actively trying to get back cultural things that are leaving their borders in questionable ways, says Dr. Kastner. If you are an archaeologist who specializes in returning artifacts to their rightful owners, it is very easy and dangerous for a well-known business that deals in historical items to buy items that have been stolen from archaeological sites or illegally exported from their home country. For longtime fans of the show, the level of authenticity would be especially high. The study has led to a re-evaluation of episodes where experts were brought in to authenticate items about which the Harrison family wasn't sure. These scenarios are shown as proof of the family's dedication to law and authenticity. However, this now brings up questions about what happened to items whose provenance can't be confirmed after the cameras stopped moving. History teacher Margaret Winters from Minnesota once made a special trip to Las Vegas to visit the famous shop. "I've watched every episode and have always admired how careful they are with their authentication," she said. "Rick always said he wouldn't buy anything without the right paperwork. It's hard to believe what we're hearing now." The investigation has also shown how bad the business empire's finances are. The shop is popular with tourists and is one of the best things to do off the Las Vegas Strip, and financial records show that it makes a lot of money. Problems beginning around 2022, when the production of new shows slowed down and